Hey everybody, today we will crochet the Rustwood Beanie. This is a fall inspired pattern and is going to be a great addition to our winter hats as well. So this hat is a part of the Harvest collection. It can be made in sizes newborn to adult large. We will use the puff stitch and the back loop single crochet for this hat. This hat is worked sideways. We will make a rectangle and then sew it closed. You can decide if you want to add a folded brim or not, and you can add a pom-pom also. You can find the written pattern in the description box below, and I'll also add it in the comments. Hi everybody, I'm Aki, the designer of all the patterns on Let's All Crochet. I just want to invite you to join the Let's All Crochet newsletter so that you get updates for all the new patterns. You will also get the white winter set free once you join the newsletter. And in case you are an aspiring designer, I have a special, completely free, how to write a crochet pattern ebook. You can also grab this in the description box below. So you can grab either of these absolutely free. So this is the yarn that I am using for this hat. It is Lion Brand Basic Stitch Anti-Pilling. So this is a weight 4 yarn and it has 185 yards and 170 meters. Each skein has 100 grams and it is machine washable, and this color is pumpkin. The other material we will need to crochet this hat is a 5mm or an 8 size crochet hook, scissors, a tapestry needle, measuring tape, and stitch markers are optional. So I'm just going to explain how we are going to make this hat. We are going to begin by chaining the height of this hat for our size. Then we will continue repeating the rows till we have the entire circumference for our head size. Once we finish, we are going to close the top and then close the sides together, and our hat will be ready. So before we start, I just want to say I have left a free size chart for all sizes from newborn to adult large in the description box below. So you can grab that to know the length of the brim and the height, the width, the circumference of the hat. You will find every chart in it. Now let's continue. I'm going to be making an adult size medium today. I'm going to begin with a slip knot. We can make this however we want. I am going to chain 11.5 inches. This is my hat height. So if you have the written pattern, it has the exact number of stitch counts for each size along with the measurements, and it also has gauge. You can also grab my free size chart below and see how much you need to chain for your size. So we're going to yarn over and then pull through this loop. This is our first chain, yarn over and then pull through. This is our second chain, yarn over and then pull through, yarn over and then pull through. So I'm going to continue chaining in the same way till I have 11.5 inch. I'll meet you when we finish. So I've finished making my chain. Let's make row 1 now. We're going to make a slip stitch in the second chain from the hook. So the loop on the hook is not a chain. This is our first chain, and in this second chain we're going to make a slip stitch. So we're just going to insert our hook like this. Then we're going to yarn over, pull through, and then pull through this loop on our hook. Now we're going to make a slip stitch in the next chain. Insert your hook, yarn over, and then pull through, and then pull through the loop on your hook. One more slip stitch in this next chain. Insert your hook, yarn over and pull through, and then pull through the loop on your hook. So we want to keep all the slip stitches as loose as possible so that we can work into them easily. And now for the rest of this row, we are going to be making single crochets in all the chains. So in this next chain, I'm going to insert my hook, yarn over and then pull through. I have 2 loops on my hook. I'm going to yarn over and then pull through both. This is a single crochet. Insert your hook, yarn over and pull through. I have 2 loops on my hook, yarn over and pull through both. So I'm going to continue making single crochets in each and every chain till I reach the very last chain. I will meet you once we finish this row. So I've finished row 1 now, and if we want, we can count all our stitches. We're going to have 1 less than the number of chains that we made. And if we want, we can also measure this, and we want to make sure it matches the size for our hat. If this does not match the size, you can just add or remove a few chains and the stitch count does not matter. So let's go to row 2. Row 2, we are going to chain 1 and then turn our work. Yarn over and then pull through and then turn our work. In row 2, we are going to be working back loop single crochet. So the loop on the hook is not a stitch. This is our first chain, not a stitch. And this is our very first single crochet. So we are going to work into this. There's a loop that is facing us and a loop that is facing away from us. This is the loop that we are going to work into for every stitch of this row. This is the back loop. So this is what the side of the work looks like, and we just have to turn it and see the top of the work, find the back loop and then work into it. So let's do this together. I'm going to go into the back loop of this very first stitch and make a single crochet. Yarn over and pull through, yarn over and pull through both the loops. Back loop, single crochet in the next stitch. Insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over and pull through both. Continue making single crochets in the back loops of all the stitches till the end of this row. So I'll meet you at the last 3 stitches where we have our slip stitches. We're going to work slip stitches into them. So I've reached the end of this row and I have 3 stitches left, this one and this one, and we know these are slip stitches from row 1. In the slip stitches we are always going to work slip stitches. So in this third last stitch I'm going to insert my hook into the back loop, yarn over and then pull through the loop on my hook. So we are going to keep these very loose or they will be very hard to work into. Insert your hook into the back loop of the next stitch, yarn over, pull through and then pull through the loop on your hook, and into the very last stitch insert your hook, yarn over and then pull through the loop on your hook. So if you want, you can count your stitches and make sure that you have not missed any stitch. Your stitch count is going to be the same as row 1 for all the rows from now on. Let's go to row 3. We're going to chain 1 and then turn our work. Yarn over and pull through and turn. Now in the slip stitches, we're going to work slip stitches. So the loop on the hook is not a stitch. This is the chain 1 we just made. This is our first slip stitch. So we're going to make a slip stitch in the back loop. Insert your hook, yarn over and pull through the loop on your hook. Back loop, slip stitch in the next stitch, and back loop, slip stitch in the next stitch. So we have 3 slip stitches, and now we are going to make back loop single crochets from the next stitch. And now we are going to continue this till the end of this row. The third row is also back loop single crochet. I will meet you once you finish this row. I have reached the end of row 3. We want to make sure we make a single crochet in the back loop of this very last stitch, and then we end the row. We can count our stitches. They're going to be the same as row 1 and row 2. Row 4, this is also a back loop single crochet row. We're going to begin with the chain 1, yarn over and then pull through and turn our work. Begin with back loop single crochets in this first single crochet. So insert your hook into the back loop, single crochet. Insert your hook into the back loop, single crochet. So we're going to continue making back loop single crochets till the last 3 slip stitches, and I will meet you there. So I've reached the end of the row and we are going to make a slip stitch in this very last 3 stitches. So this on the side is not a stitch, it's the chain 1 from the previous row. So I'm going to insert my hook into the back loop of the third last stitch, yarn over and pull through, and then pull through the loop on my hook. Insert your hook into the second last stitch, yarn over and pull through the loop on my hook. And this is the very last stitch. Insert your hook into the back loop, yarn over and pull through the loop on your hook. You want to keep these as loose as possible so that they're easy to work into. Let's go to row 5. Chain 1 and then turn your work, yarn over and then pull through and then turn your work. So first we're going to make a slip stitch in the first 3 stitches. So insert your hook into the back loop of this first stitch, yarn over, pull through, slip stitch, in the next stitch, slip stitch, and in the very next stitch, slip stitch. So this row is a puff stitch row. What we will do first is figure out how many puff stitches we are going to make. So let's do that. So this is where I've started my row, and now we're going to go to the end of this row. So this is the bottom of our hat. So now we'll just take a measuring tape and measure 4 inches and then add a stitch marker. So I am going to make a folded brim and I am making my brim 4 inches for an adult medium. So this is going to fold up like this. So if you are making any other size, the brim height will be different. So once we add our stitch marker, we know that this is where we stop making our puff stitches, and for the remaining stitches here at the bottom of our hat, we are going to make only back loop single crochet. The top of the hat has the slip stitches so that it is not very bulky once we close it. So now we are going to make single crochets in the back loop for 3 more stitches. So you made 3 slip stitches. In the next 3 stitches, we are going to make back loop single crochet. 1, 2 and 3. And now we are just going to skip this very next stitch and we are going to make a single crochet and puff stitch in this next stitch. We have worked in this stitch. We are going to skip this very next stitch, and in this next stitch we are going to make a single crochet and a puff stitch. So whenever we are working a single crochet and a puff stitch, we are going to go below both the loops of the V of the stitch. We are not working in the back loop. So let's do this now. Skip this in this next stitch. We are going to go below both the loops of the V, yarn over and then pull through. We have 2 loops on a hook, yarn over and pull through 2. So we have made a single crochet, and now we are going to make a puff stitch in this very same stitch. So yarn over first, insert your hook into this stitch, yarn over and then pull up a long loop. So we can see this loop is long. We're going to do this again. Yarn over, insert your hook into the same stitch, yarn over and pull up a long loop. So now we have 5 loops on our hook. We're going to do this once more. Yarn over, insert your hook into the same stitch, yarn over and pull up a long loop. So now we have 7 loops in all. We're going to yarn over, pull through only 6. So you can hold the last loop with your hand and pull through only 6. And now we have 2 loops on our hook. Then we are going to yarn over and pull through the last 2. So this is our puff stitch. And now we are going to skip the very next stitch, make a single crochet and a puff stitch in the next stitch. So after the puff stitch, we are going to skip one. In the next stitch, we will make a single crochet and a puff stitch. So single crochet first and now puff stitch. Yarn over, insert your hook into the same stitch as the single crochet, yarn over and pull up a long loop. We're going to do this 2 more times. Yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over and pull up a long loop. Yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over and pull up a long loop. We have 7 loops on our hook now. We are going to yarn over, pull through only 6. We have 2 loops left. We are going to yarn over and pull through the last 2. So now we are going to continue making this pattern till we reach our stitch marker. We are going to skip the next stitch. In the next stitch, we will make a single crochet and a puff stitch. Yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over and pull up a long loop. Yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over and pull up a long loop. Yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over and pull up a long loop. So you'll have 7 loops, yarn over, pull through 6. We have 2 loops, yarn over and pull through the last 2. Continue doing this till you reach the end near the stitch marker. We're going to make a single crochet, puff stitch and then skip the next stitch. I will meet you near the stitch marker. So now I have reached my stitch marker. So your stitch marker may lie in the same stitch as the puff stitch or 1 stitch ahead of it. It really doesn't matter. I'm just going to stop now and I'm going to continue making back loop single crochet till the end of this row. So right after the puff stitch into the next stitch, we're going to go into the back loop and make a single crochet. Back loop single crochet in the next stitch, and we're going to continue doing this till the end of this row. I will meet you once we finish. So I've reached the end of the row and we just want to count our stitches and make sure that we have the same as the rest of the rows. We should not be missing any stitch. Let's go to row 6. We're going to chain 1 and then turn our work. So we're going to continue making back loop single crochets starting from this very first stitch till we reach our very first puff stitch that we had made in the previous row. So I'll meet you at the very first puff stitch. So I've finished making single crochets till this very last stitch, and now I have the puff stitch. So this is my puff stitch, and because this V is larger than the rest of the single crochet, the puff stitch will always be slightly larger than the single crochet stitch. So it is easy to tell that this V is a puff stitch. So I'm going to just skip the puff stitch. In the smaller V that we see here, we're going to make a single crochet and a puff stitch. So we'll make a single crochet first. We're going to go below both the loops of the V, single crochet, and now we will make a puff stitch. So yarn over, insert your hook, pull up a loop, insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, insert your hook, pull up a loop. We have 7 loops, yarn over, pull through 6, pull through 6, we have 2 left, yarn over and pull through the last 2. So in this row, we're just going to skip the puff stitch, and in the next single crochet, we will make a single crochet and a puff stitch. So if you can't tell the stitches like this, you can just look at the top and you will see that the smaller V is which we will work into, make a single crochet and then a puff stitch. So let's do it once more. We're going to skip the puff stitch. In the next stitch, we will make a single crochet and a puff stitch. So we're going to continue doing this till the very last puff stitch that we see. I will meet you at the very last puff stitch of the previous row. So I've finished making all the puff stitches, and I have made one puff stitch in the stitch after the puff stitch of the previous row. We will always do this in the row 2 of puff stitches. Skip this very last puff stitch, and in the next stitch we are going to make a single crochet and a puff stitch. And now we will see that we have 6 stitches left, 3 single crochets and 3 slip stitches. So you'll make a single crochet in the back loop starting from this next stitch, single crochet in the back loop in the next stitch, single crochet in the back loop in the next stitch, and in the next 3 stitches we are going to make slip stitches in the back loop. So insert your hook, into the back loop, yarn over and pull through, and we want to make these a little loose, number 2, and the very last one, number 3, and this is the end of row 6. So now what we are going to do is just push these puff stitches to the front like this. So this is the front of our work, and we're just going to push all the puff stitches to the front so that they show. So you can see they stand out more now. From now on, our pattern is very easy. 4 rows of back loop single crochet and then 2 rows of puff stitches. 4 rows of back loop single crochet and then 2 rows of puff stitches. So let's make the next row of back loop single crochet. We're going to begin with a chain 1 and then turn our work. This is row 7. First we're going to work slip stitches into the very first 3 stitches. Always work slip stitches into the slip stitches. We're working into the back loop and we're going to keep our stitches loose. So after the first 3 slip stitches, we're now going to make back loop single crochet in all the stitches till we reach the end of this row. So even in the puff stitches, if we can't see the back loop clearly, we're just going to turn our work. This is the back loop of our puff stitch. Continue doing this till you reach the end of the row. So after this row of back loop single crochet, we are going to make 3 more rows of back loop single crochet. Then we will make our 2 puff stitch rows. We already know the right side because we can see the puff stitches easily. So we will just keep pushing our puff stitches to the right side. We are going to continue repeating the 4 rows of back loop single crochet and the 2 rows of puff stitches till we have the circumference of the hat that we want. So I'm going to continue repeating these rows till I have about 19 inches in circumference, and I will meet you once we finish. So I've finished making all my rows, and this is my completed rectangle. So I'm just going to measure it now. So it measures about 19 inches. This is the right side of our hat. It is very easy to identify because of the puff stitches. So now we are going to close this. So to close the hat, we are going to do so by sewing. So you're going to leave a long tail first, that is at least twice the height of your hat. Then you're going to cut the yarn. Once we cut the yarn, we are going to pull out a loop. So just pull this out. And now we are going to use this to close our hat. First, we are going to close the top of the hat, bring it together like this, and then we will close both the sides together till we reach the end here. Then we will weave the tail end in and turn the hat inside out. So I've got my tapestry needle, and now we're just going to go in and out of the top of the hat so that we weave this tail end in, and then we will just pull it and close the top. So with the tapestry needle, I'm going to go into the top of the very last stitch, and then I'm going to go into these two loops, last stitch of the next row, last stitch of the next row, and then I'm just going to tug on the needle. And now we are going to continue doing that till we come back to the start of our round. So I will meet you once we finish. Just go below the loops, tug. So I'm going to meet you at the end of this round. So I've finished going through the top of the entire hat, and I'm just going to tug this now to close the top. It won't close completely, so we're just going to use the tapestry needle and make this gap smaller. So now I'm going to go one more time all around, and this time I'm just going to skip a few stitches. I'm going to go below this one, below this one. So just skip a few stitches and go all around, it doesn't really matter. And you're going to do this one more time. So this time you will again skip stitches and go all around. So I'll meet you once you finish this very last time. Keep pulling your yarn so that you pull the top of the hat completely closed. So once we finish, we're just going to go across now once or twice to make sure we have completely closed the top. So we're just going to do this a few times, and I'll meet you once you finish. So before we close this side together, what I have done is just counted the last stitch on this side and on this side and added a stitch marker to both of them so that we make sure we close the hat correctly and it lines up exactly. So with my tapestry needle, I'm going to go into the last stitch on this first side and into the last stitch on this other side. So I'm going below both the loops. So at the top it's going to be a little difficult, and then it will get easier. Just tug on the yarn. I'm going to go once more into the same stitch. And now I'm going to go into the second stitch on this side and the second stitch on the other side. Then I'm going to tug on the needle. Now I'm going to go into the third stitch on this side and the third chain on this other side because we have chains on this side. So in the same way, we're going to continue closing till we reach the end, and I will meet you once we finish closing this entire side. So I've finished closing the entire side, and now I'm just going to weave this tail end in. So I went one extra time at the end here, and now I'm just going to go 3 to 4 times in the opposite direction with my tapestry needle. Once you're sure this tail is firmly weaved in, you'll just take a scissor and then cut it off. Weave in any extra ends. Now we're just going to turn this inside out, and our hat is now ready to wear. So if we want, we can add a pom-pom to this hat. So before we go, don't forget to grab your free white winter set and sign up for the Let's All Crochet newsletter so that you don't miss any patterns from me.